There we are. I saw this headline. I've misread it initially. I thought looms. That's a really unusual word to put. I was thinking of weaving, but it's not. Tax raid looms for the middle classes. So Labour's numbers are in a mess, and they're going to have to get some more money. They promised growth. Growth hasn't happened. If anything, the economy is getting. You can't promise growth. It's not. It's not. You can't promise growth. It has to happen, and then you can take the credit. But it's not the other way around. Anyway. They're going to get their money from the middle classes, but the middle classes aren't big enough, are they, Ben?
Well, they're not, and this is the key thing, Jeremy. It looks like they might be trying to back away from their promise not to increase taxes on working people, because at least in interviews this weekend, the line has shifted. It's not working people, it's people on modest incomes. So if you're doing a 14-hour shift in the City of London, you're doing well for yourself, and you're watching this thing, well, I'm still a working person. If you look at the Labour manifesto, they promised that they wouldn't put your taxes up. And it now looks like they might be trying to back away from that, by redefining what working people are.
If we learnt this from George Bush Sr. in 1992, who said, this is the famous thing, read my lips, no new taxes. And then he put them up and he was just gone from that moment on. He promised not to, and he did. I don't know if they could survive this, Lynn. What do you think?
No, well, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. They said, in response to Ben and echoing what he said, they promised not to raise taxes, and they're going to have to, because they're going to have to get the money.
Well, no, hang on. There are ways they can do it without breaking their promises. Yeah. And the classic way is a wealth tax.
Oh.
Well, no, it might. No, that's where they go and they say
it's better than the alternative.
It's not better. I tell you why.
You'd rather tax working people.
Okay, can someone tell me? I've said this before.
You'd rather make people pay more income tax.
Okay, Ben. If they implement a wealth tax, we have seen in France that it didn't work. They introduced it, they had to scrap it in 1986. They reintroduced it again and they had to scrap it in 2018. Why? Because the wealthy just leave. And then what happens? It goes to us anyway.
So you tax everybody else instead, because that's the choice. But you either tax people who can afford it or you tax those who can't.
But either way, it's going to fall on us, is my point. And when we look at other countries...
Who would you tax instead?
Well, I would find other things to tax. Like, okay, why can't we spend all of that administration of going after, look, the top 1% already pay 30% of all income taxes. Go after the corporations or find another way. You can raise other tax, or even...
Ben, how would it work? You obviously like this idea of a wealth tax. You would have to go door to door. And look, I'm not even joking, you've got to start looking at people's jewellery. Have you got a diamond ring? That's what a wealth tax... Yes, you do.
You wouldn't have to do that.
That's what a wealth tax is.
How would you do it?
We're talking here about people with assets of more than £10 million who, according to the proposals on the table, would have to pay 2% only on the wealth that they have above £2 million. So this is their share.
10 million.
It's properties, £10 million. Sorry,
How?
Yes. How?
Would you
in the same way as other
Okay, but what about
people?
What about people who have no real liquid wealth and then they have houses? Are you going to force them to sell?
If you've
got
got £10 million worth of properties and the tax man requires you to sell one of them to pay the tax, I don't think people in this country will find a violin small enough to play for.
I like the idea that super wealthy is 10 million.
Yeah.
We have got 177 billionaires in this country, or we did last time. I looked, it's probably about 150 now. And they're worth 1,000 million. So you're starting at 10 million. What happens to people on 1,000 million? They've got to pay 4% as well.
2%. Yeah.
2%.
Well, you could have the higher rate for that.
Why don't you just go and take... Why don't you just take all their money? Let's just go and take all their money.
Can we treat
What about that?
But can you just tell me when it's worked? Because, okay...
We've never tried it.
Well,
but other countries have
never tried it.
Other countries have.
It might work now. It might work.
The thing is, people with that level of wealth anyway, all they'll do is leave or hide it. And we don't have the administrative capabilities to find it.
They won't all... Not every single person in this country who has more than £10 million in the bank or an asset...
Oh, they're just going to sell their house that's been in their family for
take their kids out of school, abandon their elderly parents and move because they have to pay an extra 2%.
Yeah, they'll just wrap it up in trusts.
They won't.
They'll wrap it up in trusts.
And there's no evidence that they do. There's no evidence that they do.
What if they just gave it away? Because they'd probably rather give it away than give it to the government.
They want to give it all to charity.
Yeah.
You know,
Donkey sanctuary or something.